sketchy as hell. It's just a lot going on. So Trump is no fucking anybody to emulate. Look, we don't have to keep going over and over the stuff that he did while he was reporting, supposedly running his empire. How he screwed out so many little people and big people for that. But he's just not a decent person. And to come to find out now that he spent most of his formative years allegedly dealing with minors. This guy should have never, not only been nominated, but to actually be in the White House now is a disgrace to the country. That's all I have to say.
Right, and just adding to that point, Roy Cohn also represented mafia bosses, Tony Salerno, Galante, John Gotti, Mario Gigante, and also George Steinbrenner.
That's correct.
New York Yankees owner for decades. So, and also the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of New York. I'm done.
And no, truth be told, guys, hold on, but real quick. Truth be told, guys, is this, right? He actually runs his organization, his administration, like a mobster. He uses terms like "don't rat," "stay low." Like, look at the kiss the ring. The whole thing is based on mafia style rule. Like, just look at it. You guys can. It's not even hard to put the pieces connect the dots.
This is all gangsta.
He runs it. Yeah, it is gangsta.
It's our new America. Welcome to America.
Yep.
Lisa, I don't want to compete with you in any way, but if you know when you're going to be, basically when you're going to be done with this room, I will put up a room called Mike Johnson Supports Pedophilia, but I'd like to not compete with you. Do you have any idea?
I have no idea because we have a thing with politically correct tonight. We still gonna, like I said, we can still have people send people sorry, you guys, send people your way, and you can go ahead and announce the time that you're gonna do it in this room, so then you can get the people who are interested in being there. They can.
Okay, but my main objective is to make sure that regardless of when someone comes into Clubhouse, we aren't taking away from each other. Regardless of when somebody comes into Clubhouse, they can find this kind of information. That's my objective.
I appreciate you. It is nice. It's nice to know that we can work together on this. But I don't have any team time right now. But I'll let you know. I'll come to your back channel and I'll let you know.
Yeah, we can think about it. There's no rush.
After the Steve Colbert stuff, if you saw all Jimmy Fallon, they all, after all this madness that's going on with him corrupting every industry that we have, I mean, I don't see how we can't get him out of the house at this point, because this is honestly, he's coming from all angles. This is how bad those Epstein files are.
Yeah, and the mere fact that we are going to go on recess after they requested or subpoenaed. So what does it mean? Are they not going to go and talk to her until, when are they coming back?
After Labor Day.
Oh, hell, are you serious?
That's why I said, Lisa, they got 5 weeks to come up with all sorts of stuff, plan their strategy. Yeah, this will look totally different after Labor Day.
Yeah, I remember. Go ahead, bro.
No, real briefly, what comes to my mind right away is, hey, what's going on, family? What comes to my mind, shout out to Lisa holding the room down and Scotty, everybody, just more information is the only thing that's going to save the masses of the people. Less information is like public enemy number one. But number two, because let me just say this, Maxwell, Ghislaine, how do you anticipate that conversation between them and being? In my mind, if she came up committing suicide soon, that would fit the narrative that everything happens a certain kind of way. Because now they know she got some smoking guns. She and Comey, the one that prosecuted her, knows a whole lot. So when you start seeing people, we don't need Comey anymore around at all. We don't take the mic from a lot of people, because I think that's the number one fear that he has, is the connectivity. His connectivity to all kinds of, like you're talking about right now, that coming out, that'll force people to go down certain roads and have certain thoughts and certain conversations. And that scares him more than anything on this planet. And I think that, like somebody brought out, who he's afraid of.
Right.
He got some people. He got some people he's afraid of. Contrary to what he tells. Contrary to what he tells.
Talking, see, let him finish talking. I'm tired of you interrupting people like that. Cut it out.
Yeah. Contrary to how he tries to sell the world on he's the bravest thing ever walked Earth, he know there's some folks that he don't want to be on the bad side of. I'm sure of that. We're hearing that in this conversation right now. He know that there's some powers across this planet that was mentioned just right now by Scotty and whatnot that are been coordinated, not just for decades, for a long time, and as the planet now is hungry for the truth. MAGA, not those way up there. They're not so hungry for truth to come out. But yeah, so go ahead and go to battle with Wall Street Journal and Rupert Murdoch and because in that process, bring it all out. The masses want to see what's really going on, man. Want to see the Wizard of Oz, pull the curtain back.
Yeah,
because
it's not gonna happen.
Well, it's not going to happen that way, but it's happening. Trust me, there's a lot more coming out now than there's ever been out across the masses of the people and technology. And so, for the full story, I get your point. Maybe certain things won't. But people, one thing people learn, believe it or not, they're not stupid. Believe it or not. See, at the end of the day, folks like truth. Okay, I know you was going to go. That's why I had to preface it with saying, believe it or not, because I knew you was going to go there.
Hold on.
I just go right into it. My 10-second comment is that I was surprised how quickly all the MAGA influencers just switched when he started mentioning Obama and Hillary Clinton and arresting. So a lot of them are forgetting the Epstein thing and we're focusing on that. So the stupidity level is.
But a lot aren't. Focus on the ones that ain't dropped it just yet. And Mike Johnson getting kind of scared too. He falling in. You see, so where's Bongino? What's going on, Bongino? What's been happening? Bondi. So those pressing questions, because see, again, there's a government of the people, by the people, for what? For the people. And the people is 330 million. So, like he said, it's a very small percentage that's on the list, quote unquote, but it's that file. It's all things related to Maxwell in the case and all these other people. Why she doing time? Them questions ain't gonna leave history. History books ain't gonna let that fade away. So, but because the masses, they're way bigger than the elite top, and the masses is catching hell on Earth right now. That's a different time. So you can think it's all business as usual if you want to, but trust and believe, they on the run. The devil's on the run.
My prediction is that Ghislaine Maxwell.
There's a guy I cut off. Sorry, TC. There's a guy I cut off. I want to know.
What you wanted to say, see.
Truth will prevail in time. It will I think it's ironic, the dichotomy of that he's releasing all these files regarding MLK and JFK, but in time, the irony is he wants to be known as this person, he's trying to rewrite history. All this is going to come out in time, whether or not he's alive or not. And it's unfortunate that we have to go through this. And I'm sad for our country for that.
Being that this is about Martin Luther King, Martin Luther King did one of his speeches. He said that the United States is going through the process just like ancient Rome. After Caesar was assassinated, all the other leaders that came behind tried to do something, were all crazy, tried to do something to try to save Rome, but Rome eventually, after some time, Rome eventually fell. And he said the United States of America at that time in the 60s was going through the same process. Now, the thing we have to think about also is once Trump, whether he leaves office or passes away from natural causes since he's about 80 years old, who's going to be the leader after him to try to save this country from imploding and being destroyed?
Marco Rubio.
Yeah, no, it'll be Marco Rubio. I agree with that. Not only that, you also have a lot of undercurrent shifts that's happening in the country as well. Populations are changing, densities are changing from various states like California, New York to southern states. You've got a conservative swing from the younger voting demographic
So I think what you're going to see is you're going to see brand repositioning for the Republican Party to a younger demographic, issues that reflect more of their concerns. And I think that's also going to contribute to the saving of the country. Furthermore, on the topic of Epstein, I think Ghislaine Maxwell will get a pardon. I'm fairly certain of it. She'll get a pardon, and the Epstein issue will go away around the midterms because the Democrats don't know how to.
I agree with that. But TC, I do disagree with you on one thing. You said branding. Rubio's 5'7". How do you think he's going to end up being elected president?
So Rubio has positioned himself as a national security advisor, as the Secretary of State, as the chief diplomat for the United States, chief intelligence representative for the United States. I think he's established himself as a very competent legislator and negotiator. I think he's notched enough wins for the Republican Party to give him a second shot. Not only that, Napoleon was short, so
he watched Elon Musk. He's been watching this whole thing with Doge. He's got front row seats to everything.
Well, I have to announce that CEO said that the Manchurian candidate is
J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance will win the nomination.
No way.
All the lot for him to not win.
Not going to go anywhere.
J.D. Vance, I guarantee you, J.D. Vance can have a snowball chance in Rio. Here's the reason why Marco Rubio's got it, right? Not only because
Marco Rubio has a better chance
over each other
any day. Like,
See, hold on.
Okay, so I want to see it.
All y'all ain't got to get off the mic. I knew y'all ain't paying the time.
Thank you, Patty, please, because we can't hear. When you guys are all talking, believe it or not, we can't hear. Go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah, so TC, go ahead. I just want you to make a electoral argument, not just who you like more.
Yeah, so we know that in the last election, when anybody had a chance, it was actually Marco Rubio that came the closest to the nomination, and Ted Cruz.
It was actually John Kasich. John Kasich came in second. John Kasich came in second in 2016. That's the data.
No, but I'm talking about the wins of conservative states. Marco Rubio next to Ted Cruz had the most delegates. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong.
John Kasich did. John Kasich had the most delegates after.
We know John.
You talking about 2016 or 2002?
We're talking about 2016.
Well, I think Marco Rubio's got a lot more of a current resume, 2024, than right now. I think that means. I don't think Kasich is coming up.
No, I wasn't talking about Kasich. I'm talking about Vance. I think Vance will get the nomination. He has more of a resume than Rubio. He's a VP.
It'll be interesting to watch them fight it out.
All right, to reset the room, you guys, this has been a great conversation. We opened up this room this morning versus our evening room to talk about what's going on here with, I'm going to say her name right, Jesseline, and the situation with her and the connection that it has with Trump and the later connection with MLK. We haven't even got on that part yet. And as well as Obama. This is 100% disgusting that they would leave this shit open until September, but I really don't think it's going to go away. They might think it's going to go away, but everybody's going to be talking about it. What else could we be talking about? They're in recess, so what did they leave us with but this hot-ass mess? So we played a clip giving you guys a history of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, and then moving it forward, she has always said, and now you guys admitting that she's gonna get a pardon. God dang, how things are changing from day to day.
Lisa, can I make the final? Lisa, can I make the final dot connection just to reiterate? I know people.
Please do.
Okay.
Because a lot of people don't know.
Just because I want to, connected the whole FBI and Roy Cohn and, McCarthy and J. Edgar Hoover and all of that and Epstein. And the point being is that Alan Dershowitz, who we know is a staunch and always has been a staunch Trump supporter, who has also been a client of Roy Cohn as well, was also the defense attorney for Epstein in 2007, as we know, who was able to get the plea deal for Jeffrey Epstein in 2007, 2008, where the prosecutor was was it Alex Acosta, who was the prosecutor in Florida at that time, who was able to give Epstein the plea deal with Alan Dershowitz as a defense attorney. And then Alex Acosta was, of course, appointed as labor secretary for Trump in 2017, and he served until 2019, where...
Wait, y'all didn't hear anything I said?
Let me just finish. Who was ultimately connected to the Epstein case so much, and when Epstein killed himself, he removed himself and resigned from the Trump administration. So I just want to make sure all of those dots were connected. Alan Dershowitz is still on the Epstein list, very close to Epstein, of course, and has been for years, and that's the connect.
Wait, you guys didn't hear anything I said? I was talking for the last 2.5 minutes.
No, because I was talking and you were on mute.
No. Oh my God, are you kidding me? I was answering the CEO's question of why Marco Rubio is more qualified to, or he has a higher likelihood of becoming the Republican nominee than any other candidate, especially JD Vance.
So reiterate, we didn't
hear the word. But can I ask you a question, TC?
Damn, bro, I was going into it. Okay, I'll be brief.
When you say that, let me answer my question and then continue with what you were going to say. The question is, when has a current sitting vice president who has not become the nominee of that party when they are eligible to run, when their boss, the president, is no longer running? When has that happened?
You'd have to go back decades. You'd have to go back decades, right? So the only vice president to assume the position of president is Joe Biden, right? So you'd have to go back. And the last time we nominated a vice president, you'd have to go back decades.
No, well, Joe
Biden.
Joe Biden didn't run and wasn't the party nominee in 2016.
Exactly. And that's the point.
Saying which VP has not become the party nominee after his boss has stopped serving.
Literally, you'd have to go back decades. I mean, George Bush's vice president didn't get the nomination. George Bush Senior, Reagan. Who's Reagan's VP? I mean, now we're going back
Bush.
50 years.
And he became the nominee and he became president.
Right, exactly. So you'd have to go back decades before that ever happened. As a matter of fact, the only vice president to get the nomination in recent political history is Joe Biden. That wasn't even following.
But he wasn't the vice president at the time.
Exactly. That's it. Right. Exactly. So you're adding to my point. That contributes to the reality that the likelihood of JD Vance.
Yeah, that means that JD Vance is more likely to be the Republican nominee.
No. You're wrong, dude. You're wrong. You have more recent experience. You have more recent history of senators and secretaries of state getting a nomination than you have of vice presidents, especially vice presidents that follow the president. Even governors, you have more recent history of governors getting that with George Bush Jr.
But when the president was running, I'm talking about when the vice president is actually running.
You'd have to go back decades. Did you hear what I said? You'd have to go back decades. You'd have to go back decades, probably more than 40 or 50 years.
Okay,
you'd have to go back before that happened.
So you don't have an answer.
Dude, are you dumb? Are you on crack? Did you hear what I said? You'd have to go back decades.
Richard Nixon was the VP for Eisenhower.
No, I answered this question 3 times. I said you'd have to go back decades.
Just ask you the name of the person. That's it.
Well, I don't know if maybe he didn't hear me. I said you'd have to go back. Okay, all right, fine. I don't have to answer. Fine. I'd like to finish if I could. I appreciate it. Again, you'd have to go back decades. No, he's not. You'd have to go back decades. Excuse me. Can you go on mute? Can you go on mute, please, so I can finish what I'm saying? Thank you. So it's a very obvious observation. What he's pointing out contributes to my point. That is highly unlikely that a vice president gets the nomination the year after the president leaves. You'd have to go back 40 or 50 years before that actually happened. Barack Obama's vice president didn't run for president. Donald Trump's vice president ran for president and lost. So again, you'd have to refute that reality as well, that vice presidents have run and lost in those elections. Not only that, you'd also have to you have to grapple with the reality that we have more recent history that secretaries of state has gone on to successfully get the nomination, like Hillary Clinton, okay, and run successfully. Not only that, you have to realize that J.D. Vance was a junior senator from Ohio, doesn't have the same name recognition that Marco Rubio has, doesn't have the same popularity that Marco Rubio has. Need I remind you, Marco Rubio got like 98, 99 votes in the Senate. For his Senate confirmation, continues to be one of the more popular secretaries of state in the Republican Party, going back decades. Now, you also have to grapple with the reality that J.D. Vance has been sidestepped and sidelined by this administration, particularly by Donald Trump. Donald Trump hasn't given him any type of political wins. Marco Rubio has amassed relative power in the administration. Not only is he Secretary of State, he's Director of National Intelligence, and he's assumed those powers given to him by the president. Donald Trump has essentially given him the rubber stamp for the Republican Party.
But he's
for those reasons.
I agree with you.
Hold on, see. You also have to read. Hold on, see. What the fuck is going on? Why are you like a rabbit?
Don't do that, okay? You can't talk over people. You just can't. Because you want the same respect when it's your turn. You can't. Hold your breath and save it until they land. Go ahead, TC.
Not only do you have all of those things going for Marco Rubio, but he's a former presidential candidate. Former presidential candidate. JD is not. I have a call at 2 o'clock, guys. I gotta go.
My reason why I said Marco Rubio, first one to come off the mic, let me just say this real quick. The reason I threw Marco Rubio in there because I'm watching him become MAGA-tized. He is sitting there watching. If you watch him in the backdrop of every time you see Trump and he's in the room, just watch him. And you don't see him in the news, and he's falling in alignment to keep MAGA going, not the Republican Party. I don't know what the hell the Republican Party is anymore. MAGA-tized is what I'm watching. Marco Rubio is knowing how to just keep his mouth shut, keep the expression as much as he can off his face, and just looking around, watching all of this happen. And so, if anybody can pass the keys can receive the keys to what's being created, we see how the next few years will play out, or three plus years. That's what to me we're checking out.
Maybe TC has a hearing problem. Maybe other people do. I don't know. I said if J.D. Vance is running as VP for the nominee of the party, it will be him, unless